Here we are. Good evening, everybody. My name is Scott Memhard. I'm Ward One City Councilor and Chair of Budget and Finance Committee. With me is Councilor at Large, Council President Tony Gross. Also on the Budget and Finance Committee, we expect Councilor at Large Jeff Worthley to join us momentarily. Also with us is Lyons Jones, our Clerk of Committees, Kenny Costa, City Auditor, Connor McCorkle, CFO and Treasurer, and Bree, what's your last name?
Turco.
Bree Turco from our Department of Public Health. Welcome. And who else? Anybody else online that? Well, Dominique Hurley, our Director of
Kenny, can you shut? Okay.
of Health, yeah. So we're going to take, there are a few changes to tonight's agenda. This is the Budget and Finance Committee of City of Gloucester, August 7th, and we are here in the clerk's, in the committee office at City Hall, as well as virtually online. And I should announce as well that we've been requested by the mayor's office to postpone our consideration of a draft memorandum regarding a proposed amendment to GCO Chapter 2, Article 3, Division 4, Treasurer Collectors Chief Financial Officer, Section 2-70, appointment and term till a later date. And I believe that they're doing a more broad review of terms, not specifically highlighting yours. I'm also told that the mayor's office and the board of health director are going to request that we postpone our consideration of item number 5 on our agenda tonight, which is a memorandum from our Director of Public Health regarding acceptance of the Public Health Excellence Grant in the amount of $600,000 over fiscal year 2026 and 2027, and that relates to agreements still to be formally adopted with neighboring communities, I believe. So that matter will be continued until September 18th, 2025. And item number 2, which is a memorandum from Jenny Benedict, our library director, requesting our acceptance of fiscal year 2026 ECCF-GL and SFL Computer Basics Course Grant Funds in the amount of $13,104 is going to be considered at the end of the meeting, as Jenny is currently in another meeting, which conflicts with ours, and she should be joining us within the next half hour or so, hopefully. So that brings us back to item number 3, which I believe is Bree again. And that is a memorandum from the Assistant Health Director regarding the Gloucester Health Department's fee structure and further update on that fee structure for 2025. Floor is yours and Dominique's.
So we've been here a few times now.
Step by step.
Yep, so we've been here for rental, for food, and for septic fees. And while those are probably 3 of the big things that people think of on the inspectional side of the health department, there are many other things that we do. And it kind of in summary before, you know, a lot of our fees hadn't been changed since 2007. And we did a thorough review of all of our fees and just found that they really don't reflect the cost of the services that we deliver. So a lot of these for our general fees are CPI increases. And we also included a listing of our fines, but that was just more for your information, not something to be voted on, as they're already part of regulations, ordinances, but we do have them now listed in a way where we know where they are.
Good. Yeah.
And yeah, so I don't know if anyone had any questions about any of the fees.
Okay. Welcome, Councilor Worthley. I introduced you in absentia before you arrived
You knew I was coming?
with expectation. Yeah. Do you have a question?
No, Bruce Starr is often not early for meetings.
Yeah,
It's even work for him, but he's also got more credentials. So first, thank you. Always nice to see you. Is this just an update for us? Or is there something for us to vote on?
Fee structure,
Right, but it's something for us to vote on?
most fees.
Okay. So And I
If
apologize.
I may, Counselor Worthley, there's two things in front of you. One is a request to approve the fees, right, which are the remainder of the fees out of the three that we've done before. And the second on the fines is really just putting all of our fines in one place. And there's no changes there with the exception, being of us literally putting them in one place. So the fines are as an update, no approval needed, and the fees are a request to change. Is that
Yes.
helpful?
I just, we have a printed copy of these.
I don't have it printed out now.
It's like, can I just look at, see, that's what we wanted. Thank you.
Yeah.
The only question I had. Relates to. That the health department, I think the Board of Health voted for, I think we approved. A couple months ago, or we had a presentation on it regarding
This meeting is being recorded.
the home inspection. For rental,
Okay,
is that something that's on this agenda tonight?
no, because those were already voted on before, so this is just the remaining fees, not the rental, food or septic.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask one question about that?
Like,
Okay, thank you. Regarding the $500 per day fee, for people don't register by the end of the month, which is not what we're talking now, but. I read somewhere that state law only allows us to charge a maximum of $300 per day for any fee. And a late fee.
Well, this would be a fine, not a fee. So I think
It's the
the
same.
same thing.
So I just wanted to, since it's not on our agenda, just at least raise the question. And I wouldn't expect Board of Health to know every state law or the health department. Just came to my attention that the $500 per day was much higher than allowed by the state. So I guess just as a request, maybe, if you could, or if Dominique, if you could check to see if that is valid. I'm not questioning whether we voted for it or not, should have, or should have, just when that came to attention, I thought I'd bring it up here.
You look
and-
into that.
Thank you. That's all I needed to, thank you. And then regarding these, where I was 2 minutes late, I don't know if I could participate in this discussion.
so we just started, we reviewing the other items that have been continued.
Okay. So, I think I heard you say that these have been updated, most of them have been updated since 2017,
7,
2007.
yeah.
I would love, and it's just hard to do, if there's a way to have like an automatic inflation, sign to something, say if this industry or this field goes up by 3%, the fee goes up by 3%. So we're not lagging and then making big increases with, 20 years, or in this case, 18 years history of not, so, I'm gonna keep asking that. I don't think the answer is that this is possible. We just require the council to initiate a review and raises. Like confirm, or if once a year we just said, we're not changing these, or we are changing them. You think that's the way to do it?
He's post. Right. From the mayor's office. Yeah. Yeah, we know. We did.
Anyways, I just like to have a regular. I mean, we have so much to do anyways, but it'd be nice if it's a regular review, so we're not 20 years later saying, right, this needs to be higher, and then there is shock to some people, although these aren't, in a lot of cases, they're the same, or.
Yeah, I will say we did a very thorough review, and not only did we look at CPI, but we looked at neighboring communities, we looked at the cost of, our time and kind of tried to keep it in between all of that so that so you weren't seeing that huge jump.
I also do note, I have noticed, and I've mentioned a couple times, I'm very impressed that you're actually calculating what is the staff time involved to do X, Y, and Z. In some cases, you reduce the fee because it's not in line with that. So I respect that, and it's actually, I think it's really smart to keep those in line. Is there any, I'm sorry, Scott, I'm just wondering if there's any one of these that you want us to know more or pay closer attention to, or you wouldn't have concerns that you wouldn't bring to us if you had concerns.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing remarkable on this list. The remarkable ones we pulled out separately in other meetings, that were significant changes or really we had to go into in-depth. These are really more static, typical things that have to get done by the department. And so that's why they're in the all other list. So Bree, I don't know that if there's anything you'd want to call out, but I don't think from looking at the list, earlier in our process, that there's anything remarkable here that
No, I agree.
That's the case. I'll go ahead and read the motion. Is that all right with everyone? Good. So
Sorry,
the,
one more question, what's the laundromat, it's just $90 to zero?
I think it's split, yeah, so the laundromat permits, I believe are from 19, whatever, I think I noted it there, 1979. Very old, it was back when, hospitals, nursing homes would have their laundry sent to laundromats, and they had a specific, place that they had to be done, that had to be a certain temperature, it had to meet those requirements, so inspections were done. In those cases, that's not happening anymore.
So there is no
So
fee?
we're removing that as
I
a
just wrote-
permit.
It looked like it was circled.
Yeah, there was a little, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
On our thing, laundromats have a fee.
So this one has a zero recorded way down.
Yeah, I think it was accidentally put in as a $50, but it should be zero, because it's that and the OFOL permit.
Yeah, the
I believe
OFOL
are
is a-
two.
Is it
That we're
zero, but the
removing.
laundromat, so we need to make that note here,
Yeah,
what's presented to us in your memo has $50 there.
okay. Yeah, because I believe on the memo, it says that laundromats and the OFOL permits are being removed.
Yeah, OFOL's
Yeah.
at zero
Yeah,
on a liquor license inspection fee. A hotel,
there's
Wow.
several that we are removing here beyond just the ones that were called out, like the liquor license inspection fee of $25. We're proposing that we remove that since we don't do such an inspection. The transport of offal, as Bree already called out. And then we have a lodging SRO inns inspection fee, which again, we're not doing, and so don't feel that, there's no purpose in that being charged. And hotel
Right.
motel inspections, same thing.
yeah, but because this memo's in our packet, we have to make a note of that change.
Would you want it as just an amendment that we put into the, we make an amendment and then we vote on the whole package as presented. I could say, I move that we reduce the laundromat fee from $90 to $0.
Yeah, I would, at the suggestion of the health department.
Yeah, so I'll move that.
second,
Get that?
well, so that's
Thank you, gentlemen.
one change. You want to vote on that separately or go ahead and go to the motion?
No, we need to vote on that amendment and then we can vote on the motion.
So there's an amendment as proposed and by the department and put on the table by Councilor Wardley to remove the fee item schedules that are shown for laundromat and offal transport.
No, awful's already gone.
My motion was to reduce the fee from $90 to $0.
For laundromats
At the recommendation of the health department.
at the recommendation of the health department. Motion is made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 3 in favor, 0 opposed. And then on to the main motion, I'm going to make a small amendment based on our conversation to that. So that it would read that the Budget and Finance Committee moves to recommend that the City Council approve the proposed fee and fine changes as presented in the memo dated July 1st, 2025, as incorporated here too, presented by the Assistant Health Director and as approved by the Mayor, and I so move.
Second.
I'm adding the word fee and fine. changes.
But you also said that say as amended.
And as previously amended regarding laundromats. And we can leave awful on the table. Motion's been made and seconded.
Lions, you got that motion okay, or?
Got it. He's on top of it.
Right.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 3 in favor, 0 opposed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And Dominique.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
I see that Jenny has been able to join us. Jenny, are you here?
Yes, good evening, counselors.
Catch your breath. We'll go ahead and let you explain to us the memorandum regarding the acceptance of this $13,104.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity to bring this forward for your consideration this evening. So the request is to accept funds from the Essex County Community Foundation Digital Equity Partner Initiative Partnership Grant, which has been awarded to the Gloucester Lyceum and Sawyer Free Library Corporation in the amount of $13,104. And this is for the inaugural Computer Basics course. So in early September, we will be launching our new digital learning lab. And the first course in the lab is a computer basics course. The digital learning lab is Gloucester's first educational space for quality digital learning experiences that's open to the public. And this computer basics course is 15 hours of self-paced skill building and hands-on digital training that comes with an incentive of a free Chromebook and a year's internet service plan to qualified adults. So this course, over the time period of the beginning of September to the end of December, will introduce up to 50 participants to fundamental digital skills, including basic computer operations, productivity software, online safety, and communication tools such as email and video conferencing. So the amount to be received by the City of Gloucester is allocated for student interns who will help deliver the program, and our personnel wages to be administered by the City of Gloucester. These internships provide valuable hands-on work experience while making a difference into closing the digital divide here in Gloucester. So its local high school and college students will serve as digital tutor and digital navigator interns. They will be working one-on-one with participants as trusted guides in assisting community members with internet adoption and use of computing devices and applications. And then the digital navigator will assist with participant outreach, recruitment, scheduling, and evaluation, as well as some supervision of the digital tutors. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Can we all sign up now, or do we have to wait?
You can, as soon as we open the doors, we will be happy to receive expressions of interest from participants that would like to take part in this course.
And could you just detail a little further the training that you're offering and how you're recruiting those interns and other leaders?
Yes, sure. We have reached out to the Gloucester Public Schools, the high school, and held an orientation session at the high school, as well as putting the opportunity out through social media. We have received an excellent group of candidates who are interested in the digital tutor positions. And then the digital navigator, the minimum level of education that's required is a high school diploma. So we're really looking for someone that's enrolled in a program of higher education. And we do have some candidates who are ready to interview for that as well.
Counselors?
First, thank you, if you don't mind, Jenny, thank you, as always. 13,000 doesn't go very far in terms of hiring someone. I think it's a pretty big need. So is this supplementing another salary position, or? Is this what it is?
So the Digital Learning Lab is supported by two full-time staff members. We have a digital services librarian and a public technology assistant. So they are the ones that, carry most of the staffing complement for the Digital Learning Lab. And then the intern programs are designed to be after school and on Saturdays. So they are, I think, the maximum, we're expecting people to work, 10 to 15 hours a week for the period from September, October, and November, essentially for 3 months.
Thank you. I saw in the proposal that the expectation is that we provide this training for about 50 people.
Yes,
Is that right? So.
that's correct.
A lot of times I know that my instinct is when someone says education program, we think of teaching students. My guess is that the people who would benefit the most of this and need it the most are probably seniors who didn't get those lessons in school or college or, kind of missed the beginning of the digital age. Is that your expectation? The demographic would be older adults who would be learners? Or
Well,
you
I think from our, so thank you for that question. I think from our digital equity plan and the research that was done on the needs for Gloucester, it demonstrated that we have a number of populations and vulnerable people who do not have internet access at home and do not have their own computers. So we are definitely, in terms of recruiting, we're reaching out through Action in the Open Door and of course the Rose Baker Senior Center. No doubt, yes, some will be seniors, some may be new arrivals to our community. So, it's across the board as to who we expect our participants to be.
I think the need is high and I can think of 50 people off the top of my head that could benefit from this sort of training. So
Oh, well, by all means, send them our way, please.
thank you. I have no further questions.
Does this grant expire then after the term that you specified this fall, or will there be a renewal, or is that a second later step?
So thank you for that question, Councilor Memhard. So the Essex County Community Foundation is a one-time grant. However, we also have the opportunity through the Mass Broadband Institute and we have submitted a grant application for our implementation grant that's a follow-up to the work we did on the digital equity plan. And we have put in a request for a second cohort of this computer basics course that would run next spring.
Excellent. That's good to hear. You're planning ahead.
Mhm.
Got a lot on your plate these days, so that's exciting to hear. Councilor Gross?
Yeah, Jenny, you said qualified participants. What is the qualifications that people have to meet to be eligible for this program?
So generally, there's quite a long list of benefit programs that would qualify someone. It's anyone that's receiving fuel assistance or the SNAP program or any number of those types of programs that would make them qualified for this.
Well, the low income is.
Yes.
And then I also see that this is part of a $50,000 grant. Is this part of the $50,000? We accepted the $50,000. Why is this broken out separate?
Separately. So the grant was applied for by the corporation, the Library Corporation, and received by the corporation. The other aspects of the grant pay for supplies and contracted services, and those are directly contracted by the corporation. All of our personnel costs are administered through the City of Gloucester, so that is why this portion of it comes to the city for a request to receive it and then administer it.
Makes sense.
So this is for the city's part of that $50,000.
Correct.
Any other councilor questions? Seeing none, I'll read the motion. For Budget and Finance Committee to move to recommend that the city council accept a private grant under Mass General Law 44.3A, a Digital Equity Initiative Partnership Grant from the Essex County Community Foundation. Thank you, ECCF. Passed through the Gloucester Lyceum and Sawyer Free Library Corporation in the amount of $13,104, and this is for the purpose of supporting the Sawyer Free Library's Digital Learning Lab and Computer Basics course. The grant period is from August 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2025, and there is no local match for this grant, and I so move.
Second.
Motion has been made, seconded. Are there any further questions or discussion? Great. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes 3 in favor, 0 opposed. And again, Jenny, we're thrilled at the upcoming events that you will be sharing with all of us. I walked around the premises today and things are looking nice. And the public's being to use the outdoor public space as the fences have come down and enjoying those changes. So it's really step by step. You're sort of like the Willy Wonka on the Chocolate Factory in terms of what you have going on inside. You're going to give us all a golden ticket soon.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
With
So-
chocolate.
So thank you, counselors, very much for that approval.
Thank you. Includes item number 2, which had been moved around on the agenda. And that brings us to item number 4, which is the memorandum from our city auditor regarding the city's fiscal year 2024 annual comprehensive financial report, or ACFR. And this is for information only, but it's an impressive achievement, and I'd love for Kenny to share with us the highlights of that.
Sit here.
Please do. Of course. Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's a team effort. Yeah. Also Connor and
No, don't spread the credit around.
and all the departments. Absolutely. So I have a PowerPoint presentation that I'll share. So here we have the certificate of achievement. So I'm going to go over fiscal year 23 and 24. The 23 were successful. So on the left, that's this what they call the COA. And it's included in our fiscal year 24 report, which is obviously it's a great achievement for the city. It's viewed positively by the bond rating agencies. Looking at Connor just to reaffirm. And to the right is the plaque.
Running out of
So-
space?
Well, we have 3 more. So, you know, if this is an annual endeavor, so hopefully in 3 years, what happens, they'll give us a new plaque. After the 10 years. So, yeah, each year they provide that medallion. So what if it's approved, and it's awarded, we receive a medallion. So right now we have submitted the 24 report. We've sent it to GFOA, which is a much better process now. Now everything is on their website as opposed to mailing it in previously. So the GFOA, it's a nationally recognized association in the US and Canada. They were founded in 1906, and their mission statement is to advance excellence in state and local government financial management, obviously in reporting as well. So there's the website if anybody's looking for additional information. So the city, we submitted our 7th, we were awarded on the fiscal 23 audit, and that occurred this spring of 25. We're one of 50 municipalities that participate in the program. So there's, you know, big communities as Boston and Cambridge and Worcester, Malden, Somerville, and then smaller communities like Wellesley, you know, the Andover, Danvers, Beverly. So there's also some North Shore communities as well, with Manchester, Marblehead, Salem, and Revere. Again, this is an annual endeavor. So I also like to remind the committee or the council, the past. So back in fiscal year '02 and '09, the city, we had negative free cash, and that was 8 consecutive years. In fiscal year 2005, 6, and 7, the city did not close its books. And that was an issue with the DOR because free cash wasn't reported. And as you know, free cash is important, or I feel, I know Connor feels the same way. So free cash, it's an important financial indicator for the city. As you know, now we're relying on free cash to balance the budget. So we need to generate free cash to balance the budget.
Next
So,
question.
yep,
We need to, isn't, we should. Right, we shouldn't be balancing the budget with free cash, but we need to, because
well,
I just want to make sure I understood that
well,
clearly.
it's legal to balance, to use free cash to balance it, but I wouldn't say it's not best practice.
So you said we need to, meaning, like, as a catch-up, I just want to make sure that we need to use free cash to balance the budget. That's like looking backwards, we need to, or going
So
forward.
once you've committed to use free cash to balance the budget, so that just makes it more difficult for the following year. Because not only do you have like, for example, this year we had 611,000. So you need to make that up first. And then that's the thing, once you start relying on free cash, it's very difficult.
The 611,000 was deficits in the one.
So 2 enterprise funds.
No, that's outside of that.
So that
That
was
is just to balance the fiscal year 26 budget.
26 budget, okay.
Yeah, in the general fund.
If I may, too, in the 5-year projection we have, weaning ourselves off of that free cash use over the next 3 fiscal years. It's like Kenny said, once you start doing it, you almost have to wean yourself off, so it's not a big shock to the budget.
Right, so that we need to, means we also need to not be dependent on free cash, right? Like, I just want to make sure the semantics actually
It's,
And
make a difference. in the
Connor
message.
has drafted a plan, not just the 5-year plan, but just a plan,
Like, the free cash policy.
not just free cash, but the whole policies around budgets that were never in existence before, which is now far more comprehensive.
So it's basically you're saying it's unfortunate that we have to, that we need to provide free cash.
I mean, other communities do it. I mean, I saw Somerville, they were using $5 million, to balance free cash, much larger amount. I mean, it happens, it occurs. But what I'm saying is it's difficult because you have to make up that $600,000 first. But the good news is that it's only going to be temporarily. So we have a plan to wean off that free cash reliance on the budget.
And then you said we need to generate more free cash. How do we? I mean, I know how free cash has resulted in the shortchanging revenue estimates or overestimating expenses, but how do we generate free cash?
Well, that's just operations. But what I'm saying is we need free cash. And back in 2002 to 2009, there was no free cash.
You want to have
Yeah,
a positive
that's all.
balance. is what
Yes.
you're saying.
That's best practice, yes.
Yeah, to have a positive balance, which is,
Yeah, I mean, and S&P looks at that too. I mean,
that's all you're saying.
yes,
Positive balance,
Yeah.
not
because I remember,
take free cash out of it. Just look at it as
So our position was considered by our reviewers as being a deficiency, a material weakness back in 2009.
because they
well,
were
no, that was
balanced.
that was a bigger problem. So-
Currently, we're using free cash, but it's not considered to be a deficiency in terms of our budget.
No, that.
There was no
deficiency,
free
that's-
cash.
So you can have positive free cash and negative free cash. Positive free cash is a good thing, right? But what I'm saying is we're using free cash to balance the budget, so that's why it's important to have free cash. Because if we didn't have the free cash, we couldn't balance the budget. So it gives us some flexibility.
Especially the
budget.
importance of conservative budgeting.
Correct, yes, yeah. Now,
And one
the,
last question, is there a goal, what the free cash should be next year? I always felt like it was after the fact, we find out what we didn't spend, or we find out how much more we took in, but are we actually trying to project a free cash goal?
we actually have a policy,
Right.
and that's something that Con will be introducing soon.
It's
Right, and that, it's coming.
We control our expenses fairly conservatively and under control. We have not 100% control over our income revenues for a
Yeah.
variety of
Yeah.
reasons, sun, rain, and snow, and
I mean, I would say the
State
departments do a
feds.
great job managing their
State
budget. And I think also Munis is a great tool. It helps them manage their budget. So I think, between the departments and the system, it's working on the expenditure side. The revenue is another story.
Why don't you carry on?
Yep. So the fiscal year 2009 financial statement audit, there was 15 findings that were reported as a significant deficiency considered to be a material weakness.
So those, so,
I can share you,
so the budget wound up in deficit. Correct.
what's that?
It was not a balanced budget, is what you're saying here, by $2,384,524 in 2009.
So the city reported negative free cash, the 3.8 million, that's a calculation. So that's operations. And then what DOR does, they look at our other funds. They'll look at grants, they'll look at our capital projects. And we just finished in the red. So when
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah,
We
but they
didn't-
look at everything,
didn't
not just the
balance-
general fund.
Right, they look at, all.
They look at everything.
Everything,
Yep,
all sources of income, all sources of.
Yep.
Of output and,
There was
expenses
that
and
word
revenue.
comprehensive at the beginning.
yes,
And,
Yeah.
and in 2008, it was 3.8
8 million in
million,
the red, right,
and on 2.4 million in 2009.
correct.
And, that was actually you were in a deficit.
Yep.
Is what you were.
Yep. Yep.
After everything was all said
Yep.
and done.
But this wasn't, not just the general fund,
I know.
all your other funds were a
Well, yeah,
problem
well,
too.
Right,
Right.
right.
That's why I just want to
get
make
that.
sure, yeah.
I mean, but it all comes into one,
Yeah.
we get to spend it or
Yeah.
spend it.
If I were behaving in the leadership of our current Washington administration, I might say, can we just forget this history? And
Yeah.
back burner, but I think it's a helpful educational
Yes.
tool.
I just
The
wanted,
relative improvements that we
Yeah.
made.
just trying to make clear that, it's being reported as negative free cash, just trying to make clear of what it exactly is, and it's that our budget had a shortfall of 2.3 million in 2009, or 2.4 million in three.
No, so it's not the budget. So it
is in total.
it's part of it. So it's revenues and expenditures, how we ended at the end of the year. And then they also look at special revenue. So like, for example, this was an issue when I first got here, like there were grants that were in a deficit. And they
They overspent.
reimbursements, they overspent their grant, their reimbursements didn't occur
But that-
timely.
Yeah, I'm just simplifying.
Yeah.
Trying to simplify it
Yeah,
into
I mean, it's
a
helpful,
language
but it's
that's,
also like,
language that just is, you got money in, you got money out. The money out was,
If you want to keep it real
3.8.
simple, we spent more money than we brought in,
exact,
if that's what.
that's it,
you
by
wanna keep it
3.8
that way.
But you're making the
Yeah.
point that it goes beyond our
That's it.
operating budget.
That's
also
it. And we have
It goes beyond the operating budget
Grant obligations.
and also capital projects as well.
Good.
We spent more than we have.
right.
and just to further clarify, how did we pay bills when we were short by $3.8 million? Like, how do we pay payroll? There's a
It's
point,
cash flow.
I get the cash
Yeah.
flow part, but we were sitting on,
It's just a point in time. It's in June. And then what happens is
Right.
in August, we have tax bills that come in.
Yeah.
So, and I do remember
So
at the time,
It's balls in the air.
so I do remember at the time, I mean, our reserves were very low. Because I remember at the time talking to the CFO and being concerned about making payroll.
Right.
Because reserves were very low, especially in July, he had debt service payments. So I remember there were, being concerns.
From in a private business perspective, that's where you would go to the bank and take out a term loan or have a line of credit against and have a plan to repayment. Prior.
So just to give you a sample, so this is the 2009 report. So these were the material weaknesses that we're talking about. Financial statement preparation, I mean, you didn't even have an auditor at the time. The position was vacant. So the city did not have a process in place to prepare financial statements. So the balance sheet that's submitted to DOR, you had nobody here that could do it. So that right there, the outside auditors had a concern with that. So at the time, the city responded, the city's in the process of hiring a city auditor to fill the vacant position. The key component of hiring criteria is to hire someone who has the knowledge and the ability to prepare financial statements in accordance with GAAP. City understands the requirement will make every effort to be in compliance in the future. And then also review the general ledger. I know, nobody was doing that back in the day, because when I came in, it was, we, in our office, we cleaned up a lot, Cash and accounts receivable, was an issue. Accounts receivable for revenue, overlay was an issue. I'm just going over so you can see direct entries to fund balance accounts. We don't do that. That's something that I knew was a big no-no. So that's something we cleaned up right away. I just came up with a policy. We don't book direct entries to fund balance. Anytime we book an entry, an adjustment, everything flows through revenues and expenditures, and it's being done, properly. So a lot of here, it's accounting and the proper way to record things, proper way to report things. So these are the types of transfer between funds. Ban pay downs, here's another one. So I just wanted to give you an understanding or give a little bit of a background of those.
It's scary.
15.
It's daunting.
One up here. Community development loans, that was an issue at the time. I do recall that. Not recording those in the GL. Title V betterments, as well, recording those commitments in the GL, that was an issue. Parking tickets, as well. I do recall that, not recording that in the GL. We corrected that, we fixed that. Yeah, so all these items have all been corrected because none of these findings are in the report. Capital assets, that was an issue at the time. Not reporting, we've corrected that since. Landfill, we had a liability, we still have a liability on the books. We're doing that. Workers' comp, personnel, they're doing a much better job with that and reporting that liability. So none of this was being done back, in 2009. So just to give you, and then risk assessment and monitoring, they're just at, that's, something that, I wouldn't expect they would do. Documentation of financial policy, procedures and controls. We're actually just doing that now. So that's something that Connor is bringing forward to the council. So those are the 15 material weaknesses that were reported in 2009. And it doesn't stop, because if you see there's 16. So now here, material non-compliance, these are all related to the grant. So this is Title I back in 2009. Special education, and I believe it goes all the way up to 30. So at the time, we had, 30 findings that were. So the last bullet point, we reported unassigned fund balance. So that is just the general fund. So if you want to keep it simple, So the 907,000, that's how much we had in the general fund for reserves. So essentially that's what's in the checking account that we had on June 30th, 2009, that was reported. And that's only 1.1% of the operating expenses of 86 million. So at the time, the operating expenses was 86 million. So essentially, it seems like an $86 million budget at the time.
And that included all the grants.
Nope, this is just general fund. So it's
The
city,
86 million.
yep, city and school,
That was it?
yep, general fund, yep,
General fund.
So that's like, I can't do math fast, like a week payroll.
yeah,
5 days.
it is.
This is less than
Yeah.
a week, right? 5
Yeah.
days.
It's uncomfortably tight.
It was very,
Wow.
yeah, because I remember at the time, the CFO, Jeff Town, being nervous, just being concerned about making payroll. Because there just wasn't a lot of reserves. There wasn't a lot of money. Yeah. So I just want to remind, the committee, this is how we looked in 08 and 09. I mean, things are going well, but back in between 2000 and 2009, it was a very difficult time in the city. And here's the free cash certification from 82 to 2010. As you see, we started the 80s with negative. There were 3 years there with nothing. I'm assuming they probably didn't close the books. Usually when I see zeros, it's nearly impossible to close the books with a zero. So there's just no way you can do that, you know?
So it's just not closing at all.
Yeah, I think it's just not closing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember in those years, there was no closing. I was on the school committee.
It's not your.
Then we had one positive year, in '89, and then we had negative, and then we had 1 year again, not closing, and then we had 3 years negative, and then it looks like in the mid-90s, we had a good run until, the early 2000s. We had a good run, and then we went negative, and then 3 years again, not closing, and then 2 negative, amounts. So,
Well, the nineties, everybody was flush with cash. Federal government was in surplus.
So I served on the council 2001 to 2005, and there was some tough times then. And the irony though, and you, Council Gross, you're on the school committee then, we were closing fire stations and schools weren't getting the funding
They
they
laid
needed.
off 120 people.
Yeah. But the irony is, as bad as those years were, it's nowhere near as bad as 08 and 09, 92, 93. Like we were struggling, but we were only behind by 302, 90. So I can't imagine, and I was obviously very young in 1990, but
But we don't know what happened in 2004, 5, and 6. Or 5, 6, and 7.
Five question marks.
you can imagine if the trend is 2008
Right.
was negative 2 point.
well, around 2008, that was the financial, if I recall, that was like the financial crisis. So I don't know if that, but I mean, I can tell you,
Yeah.
just looking at the GL when I first came on, there were, definitely was not best practices. There wasn't a lot of budgets. There was no budgets on the revenue, so you never really knew how much you collected. So in the GL, there was no budgets. Also 2 capital projects, there was no budgets. So departments really couldn't tell how much money they had, like they were using Excel spreadsheets. Cause I would remember, you know, DPW having big projects, especially like CSO. I would ask them, well, how much money do you have left? You know, they had an Excel spreadsheet. Using that, I said, no, we need to have budgets in the system. So that was one of the first things that I took on, was to put budgets in the system, so that way we both can reconcile and see how much money is remaining in capital projects. And we do that now, like in every project, like every loan authorization, after it's been approved by the council, we record budget, you know, in munis. So,
Can you advance the slide to the more
yes,
recent past?
yes.
Please.
Weather report, see the sunny days.
So here's the sunny days. So from 2010 to 2024 to current, the city has reported 15 consecutive years of positive free cash, and our plan is to report positive free cash going forward. From 2010 to 24, we've closed our books, and free cash has been reported every year and certified by DOR. We were removed from the DOR watch list somewhere around 2012. I do remember in 2011, you know, submitting a balance sheet to DOR, and I remember Jim Duggan coming to me and DOR was excited and said this was the best balance sheet they've seen in a long time from the city. So they were very happy with what we put together. And then in the 24 financial statements, there are no findings, you know, related to deficiencies considered to be a material weakness. The financials. And then also our general fund, the unassigned fund balance, essentially our reserves in just the general fund is a little bit over 24 million in 24, which represents 17.89%. Based on our 24 general fund operating expenses of 138 million. So, you know, 17.9 or almost 18% is much better than 1.1 as you can see. And this is all reported. This is all in the 24 ACFR.
And that reserve balance is just slightly more than the total of the city's allocation of ARPA funds.
Yep.
It's past 5 years.
So that gives us a little breathing room. What, 5, 6 weeks of payroll, if we receive no money, we could get by for a little bit.
So here's our free cash certifications. I did take out 2011 for the fiscal year 2010 close in fiscal 11, and I remember that like it was 1.9, because I remember city had negative free cash, and then, because I remember in Somerville, we had like, it was about $8 million of free cash, which was the norm, and then 1.9, I just remember everybody being excited here. Well, 1.9, like, this is one of my smallest free cash certifications, and there was a lot of people that were excited, you know, after so many years having negative free cash and just having positive free cash. So free cash is varied anywhere, you know, between 2.2 to as high as 5.5 million in fiscal year 22. I do remember those years, 21, 22. I know a big reason there was, you know, our like building permits. I mean, the revenues were very strong at the time.
And you grow
You know,
too.
yeah, we grow everything, you know, as far as like building permits and growth, all of that was very positive. I would say one of the biggest contributors to that 5.5 million in free cash. Then as this past year, it was just under 4 million. So
This
this is a
just
good
over,
time.
So we allocate it to the.
Yep.
Let me ask you a question. At this point,
Yes, please.
it's good to hear there's no findings of any material weaknesses. And not to be negative, but I remember last year, right around the same time, we had call it two. They were considered material, but they weren't red flag, but it was something about IT. And security risks or something like that.
We actually haven't received that report yet for 24. So what happened was they issued the 24 report because it was due on June 30th to the GFOA. And I know they had other communities that they were working on, so I do need to circle back with them. They do owe us 2 reports. And then we will I can share that with the committee once we do have it. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So
It's
when
the
you said
governance report.
Right, when you said, does the governance report come after this?
Yes.
From the same?
Yeah,
organization?
we haven't received it yet.
When you said there was no material weaknesses found yet.
No, this is in the
No.
financial side.
This is the financial statement. So the financial statements, like the governance report, they're making recommendations
Okay.
on things that we can work on, but it's not, it doesn't materially affect.
So
The
this is an
financials.
accounting question, everything's all good, there was a management question.
Yeah,
Yes.
there's an independent organization that's just making suggestions.
Correct. Yep. Yep.
They're not governmental. They're not,
No, so the recommendations, that's from our outside auditors. So
Right.
that's from Roselli and Clark.
That's not what we're looking at.
So
Sorry,
this is,
Gotcha.
so this is a report that we, you know, it's part of the audit. And then what we do is then we submit, because basic financial statements, that's the minimum. But what we do is we prepare a nationally recognized report that we submit to the GFOA for their review. And
makes
they
sense.
review it, and then if it's in compliance, then they award the certificate of achievement.
I was conflating the two different organizations, watch management versus.
Yeah.
The school reporting, so.
Yeah.
Mentioned, thank you.
So the 24, that's the cover of the report. It's also on our website. I do have a report from fiscal year 2015 to 2024. I mean, I have our financial statements going back to the 90s. So if you ever want to go back to the 90s, take a look at that. I do have that. But it is on our city website under the auditor page.
We can refer the general public constituents to that.
There's a lot of pictures, so in the basic financial statements, there are no pictures. And with the comprehensive report, it's a lot more detail, it tells a story. There's the independent auditors report. So this is a clean report on the right. So down at the bottom, the last paragraph, in our opinion, the financial statement referred to above present fairly in all material respects, the respect financial position of the government, activities and so on. So that is a clean report. This is the best opinion. This is a clean opinion. It's an unmodified opinion. This is the best opinion that you could get. So there's no adverse, it's not an adverse opinion. This is a clean opinion. So this is the best that you can get,
Excellent.
which obviously S&P, they look for this.
There you got the Supreme Court at the bottom.
God help us.
So I just tried to take some page, some screenshots of the different various pages in the report. Again, the schooner up top, city council at the bottom, letter of transmittal in the middle, and then North chart, middle bottom, the mayor on the top right, and then there's also a stat section in the report as well, and that's in the back of the room.
And this is Roselli's report.
This is our report. So technically, it's our report. The only thing that they own is the opinion. So that opinion that I showed you there, technically, that's the only section that they own. The rest of the report is ours.
Go back a slide, sorry. I don't want to see, just look at our picture. That flow chart graphic, I served for a short time on Carolyn Kirk's transition team. She became mayor and it had residents at the bottom and I said, it should be the other way around, but it was residents, not voters. Voters is a subset of residents. Is that, it's not a financial question, but.
We follow the GFOA model,
And they put voters at the top?
yes.
Voters
mean-
are electing government.
But we
So
represent,
we report to constituents.
represent.
we represent people that aren't just voters,
That was
Live
their
in the community, children.
children and people that aren't registered to vote.
It's all about accountability.
Yeah, I was just thinking,
Accountability is voters. Term.
It's a good point.
Yes.
but that's the model they use.
That's the model they used.
Okay. We just
we
had
can go-
residents.
I can go back again and just make sure that that's, but we obviously, we're following their model.
It's certainly not
Yeah.
build it down. I just feel like there are people who we still represent whether they vote for us or not, or vote at all, so. Anyways, thank you.
But, yeah. And then the unassigned fund balance, that 24 million that we were talking about, so back in 2015, I believe it's like 3.8. And then we started increasing, and then now in 2024, we're now at 24 million, so it's been a, as you can see, well, the 2015, I believe the reason why that was so low was because of the snowstorm, because the snow and ice that was like a record year. So we remember that dip.
When you're saying unassigned fund balances, what does that mean?
So this is the money essentially that's left over, and this is general fund and
General fund
stabilization,
reserves.
and the stabilization accounts. And not including so the purchase
So-
orders are set aside, so this is like
Unencumbered,
yes, unencumbered fund.
this is the unencumbered funds?
Yep.
Does that include so health insurance is,
No,
because we don't encumber that, right?
so this is the money that's left over in the general fund after we paid all our bills in 24. So this is, it's the general fund, it's general stabilization, it's capital projects. So it's all the stab funds.
But I think Tony's getting at our OPEB liability and
No, I'm not
No,
getting
no,
at
no.
OPEB. Oh, no, I'm getting at what's the difference between unassigned fund balances and free cash?
Okay, so you have
So
different,
it's not really unassigned. It's got. homes that it lives
so
in.
free cash, that's just the general fund. Okay, that's just,
Well,
when it's free
includes
cash,
enterprise funds too, right?
well, that's retained earnings, and that's separately reported separately. So you have general fund, then you have the enterprise funds over here, it's totally separate. So free cash, that's just from the general fund.
And that's
When you
year to
have,
year. Free
what's that?
cash. Free cash is year to year.
Yep, year to year.
This is a,
When you
ongoing.
have unassigned fund
Cumulative.
balance, it's not just the general fund, because there's a GASB 54, which says you can include the stable. So, it's one of those things, they're following a reporting model. So it's general fund plus the stabilization accounts. You can roll that into the general fund. So that's part of GASB 54. So doesn't include, encumbrances. It doesn't include OPEB. It doesn't include the trust funds. It's just the general fund plus our stabilization accounts, which is like general, the building maintenance, those various ones that we
We
have.
have tens of millions in that.
We do. Actually, the balances are pretty substantial. Yeah. Get the amount that's low.
is this money for me coming and going or just sort of like savings, I guess, like.
Some of it, I would say the majority of it is a savings account, the stabilization. The general fund, it's an operating, it's like a checking account. It's money coming in and, money coming in, money going out, in and out, in and out. So think of it this way, with free cash, when you have a budget, so in the expenditures, whatever we don't spend, so we, at the end of the year, we have purchase orders, and whatever is remaining available, that's a positive against free cash, right?
Right.
And then you have revenues. So if we collect more than we budget, that's a positive towards free cash. But if we collect less, that's a negative, it's a decrease. Right? And then you also have free cash from the prior year. So it's all part of an equation. It's just, it's different, there's different components of it. So free cash is just the general fund, unassigned fund balance. It's part of the financial statements. It's a reporting model. It includes GASB 54. And also it's general fund and stabilization account. And the stabilization accounts, those are like the savings accounts that we have, which is, as you know, is part of the free cash distribution policy. It, you know, once we have free cash, it goes into those accounts, which they build up, you know, over time.
And that's
Because we've been
included,
doing it for, because I remember Jim Destino, he was the one that first introduced it to the council, and that was probably, well, 10 years ago. So those build up.
so without borrowing money, and you're gonna get me for saying this, but I'm not meaning it, the way you're gonna hear it, I'm just gonna say that. The biggest check the city could write without a loan is $25 million. 24.
At that time. On June 30th, 2024, moment in time.
And then if we have retained earnings or free cash, that number will grow from the next year's free cash.
Yep,
That number is
it could.
the cumulative number.
Depending on how we do.
You know,
If we bu-
offset, but we borrow, what are obligations, our debt service that we incur for projects.
But that service is part of the budget.
It is. So if we budget conservatively, right, then yes, it could add to it. But if we're aggressive on both on revenues and expenditures, the number will probably go down. Probably decrease.
Eroding.
Yeah.
Want to move on?
One last question. We, obviously, these are in different funds and all in one place, but if you were to average out the rate of return we're getting, and it's probably a fixed rate, but on that money, you know, I know we started a couple years ago, probably a little more aggressive on 1.5%.
Yeah, so we typically do CDs for these, so it depends, every 12 months, I'm doing about 4% right now. And it gets reinvested back, it doesn't go into the general fund, it goes to its designated stabilization fund, so that helps them grow as well.
Yeah, these restricted, you can't just go out and buy Google stock.
There's like a
Or
safe
Apple,
list, there's
yeah.
things you can invest in and things you can't, so I usually just do a jump of CD.
And I'm impressed because I think you said before, the average 1.5%
General
for like
fund,
2 years.
so we've been
Now,
towards a. aggressive investment.
Yeah, and the majority of these funds are in the stabilization account.
and you said aggressive, but not aggressive.
No, still in the state safe list, it's just we're being more mindful about where we're putting it.
So we also include the 250th Bunker Hill reenactment at Stage 4 Park on the left. And then on the right, not so much the new hotel anymore. And then just reporting other economic activity. So all of this is, it tells a story.
Yep.
In the previous report, we weren't able to include any of this.
It's a beautiful, colorful story.
So I just want to thank the team. I want to thank City Council, this committee.
Oh, we worked hard on
course.
this.
We're gonna have to allow us.
Oh,
I mean, technically. if
You-
we
you approve the
disbanded,
budget?
right,
right?
We didn't show up. I
The
guess.
supporting, I mean, at one time, there was no support for this type of report. It took years. Yeah,
Why are they
I
no
didn't-
support?
I didn't get the support. So
We're
thank you.
scrambling and struggling otherwise.
This at the time was bad news.
It's reflected.
So if we don't.
Yeah.
Report on it, it doesn't exist. Bring our heads to the scene.
Great. Well,
So I'd like to thank the mayor's office, and then also the finance team, and all the city and school departments. Well, and also Tony Roselli and Chad Clark. From Roselli and Clark. And that's it.
And are you gonna be making this presentation again on Thursday night, the full council, or?
I don't think it's on the agenda.
No.
I could if,
What could be as a report on BNF.
I don't think it's. on the agenda. No, that's- I didn't see it on the-
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Who checks the agenda? Don't you?
What they send me.
And there is value to sharing this with full council. Some Sharing comment, presentation, yeah, that's. Yeah, of the
We
big
can count on them all to watch the Zoom presentation with you, but
Would you, it's Tony's call, but would you at some point want to do a presentation for council?
We could, I mean, we never have, I know in the past, you know.
This goes to be enough.
It usually goes to be enough. I can tell you, I remember talking to Jackie Hardy about this here. It's the first time, and she said she preferred to have it at BNF, and if the counselors want to attend, they can attend the BNF meeting. And they can, you know, they can watch it.
They can,
I would say it's up to-
they can watch it.
The thing I'm thinking, obviously, we get a full agenda all the time, but. Not that the council meeting is more important than this or either way, but. Sometimes there's a broader audience. And. Where the council years ago was afraid of sharing the bad news. We should be proud to share the good news.
Yep.
And. You know, yeah, maybe someone will watch this meeting, but there's 5, 6 people here. I don't know, we would, council meeting, there'll be at least 10 people, the councilors, and then. So I would just. It's council.
it's great though to be able to refer constituents to the Zoom recordings of these past meetings, especially if we can point out the specific time of a particular presentation or issue that's before the committee.
I do think this
Each
should be
each of us have
solid.
looked back at when we needed to.
But I think we should just be celebrating the good news. the good people. So it's not my call, but my 2 cents is, it's fine to be a shorter version of this for council presentation at some point.
Yeah.
If-
Just not on the next one, that's all.
Yeah, I think it's a great story. It's a great turnaround.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I also have the overdrawn report as well.
Council on Aging, timing.
Yeah.
Anything you'd like to highlight here, Kenny?
Nothing concerning.
Or up to all $280,000?
Some of these here, I think we may even need to correct, like, for example, the city council is in the deficit. So that's the
I
first
took I
line.
took in advance.
That probably the beginning of the year.
Yeah, I think it's just the encumbrances. So some of it is just fine tuning the encumbrances at the beginning of the year.
I did ask for a new business card, so maybe that could be the.
No, this is salaries.
Right? Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
No more.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you all. Thank you, Lines.